Now, a judge has ruled that when Blackpool Council and Blackpool Transport Services removed bus adverts in 2018 for Lancashire's Festival of Hope, they disregarded the right to freedom of expression. The controversy was not about the three-day festival itself, but about the appearance of preacher Franklin Graham, who some see as having homophobic and anti-Islamic views. Well, the judge added that this is the antithesis of the manner in which a public authority should behave in a democratic society. She was referring to when the bus adverts were removed. Well, the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association, Billy, of course, was Franklin's father, they called the ruling a significant day for religious liberty and freedom of speech. The Blackpool Council told us they will review their procedures and remain committed to promoting equality, diversity and eliminating discrimination. We've asked them to speak on BBC Radio Lancashire about this ruling on a couple of occasions, and they've been unable to join us. They couldn't join us this morning. However, we can speak to one of the local organisers of the festival. He's the Revd Steve Haskett from St Thomas's Church in Blackpool, and also runs the Christian ministry called Life Association, and he's with us now. Good morning.
Hello, Joe.
Good morning. What is your thought on the ruling? What did you think?
Well, it's mixed emotions for me, really, Joe. It was very sad, I think, that we had to take this to court in the first place, and that even had to happen at all. But with regards to the ruling itself, obviously we're absolutely delighted that the judgment is so clear in what it says, that, as you've already outlined, this action that was taken by both Blackpool Council and Blackpool Transport was in breach of both the Equality Act and the Human Rights Act, and it was a decision that was based on prejudice, really. So we're delighted with the clarity that the judgment brings in that respect.
But was it based on prejudice? If you look at what the council actually did, and if you look at the climate of the time, they were under enormous pressure from groups in the town, and some would argue they were damned if they did and damned if they didn't. And they had lots of people who were trying to get them even to stop Franklin Graham coming into the town. They didn't do that. They didn't stop the event going ahead. What they did do was remove the advert. And it's about the advert, isn't it? Not necessarily about their actions towards Franklin Graham.
Yeah. Well, that's true what you've just said there, Joe. But in the court hearing, in the 3-day trial, there was a lot of discussion and a lot of time devoted to the reasons why these adverts were removed, and the kind of decision making and thought process that went on in respect to that. And as part of the preparation of the trial, all the emails that were exchanged between various officers within Blackpool Council and Blackpool Transport, and elected members as well, actually, had to be disclosed. And what that showed is actually extreme hostility. And I think this is one of the reasons why the judge's words in some places are so critical of the actions of Blackpool Council in particular, because it showed extreme hostility to what was going on. It wasn't just a case of, oh, we're in a very difficult situation. Although, yes, some people were expressing that, but others, expressed what can only be described as real hostility towards what we were doing.
But they would argue, I think, and they're not here to say it themselves, so I'll have to paraphrase for them, but they would argue, I think, that that extreme hostility, if indeed that's what it was really a fear that a man was going to come to Blackpool and stand up and say things that probably would have got them sacked. In the case when he arrived, he didn't. He didn't say anything at all that was untoward. No. But there was a genuine fear that at previous places he had done that, and that some of the things that he would have said would have got most people sacked. And that was what the worry was, and it would offend many within the town. And that was their fear, wasn't it? It wasn't prejudice, it was genuine fear.
Well, you say, Joe, it wasn't prejudice, but with respect, a court has ruled it was. So, we could just park that point for a moment. But with regards to the fear, I think really one of the other things that came out in court was that repeatedly, over and over again, the people who were making some of these decisions had been assured that these fears were completely unfounded. You know, I'd certainly met with senior people within Blackpool Council who later were involved in some of these decisions. And I know colleagues of mine across Blackpool and other areas actually as well had met similarly. And we'd given our guarantee really that what was being alleged about this event was not really what it was going to be about. And actually, you know, in some of the disclosures later on, some of those people said, you know, we have been assured that there will be no such thing as homophobic language or Islamophobic language or any of those other things that were alleged. And actually, one elected member of the council went so far as to say, you know, and I've no reason to doubt that. So what they were saying essentially was, you know, we've been given these guarantees and we believe these guarantees, and yet, you know, this hostility still remained.
Well, you say we should part these comments. Let me address you to the court case itself. And I read the paper again only today, and I urge people to read it because it's very, very interesting, the court ruling. It's very, very interesting. But one of the points that's made is that the actual advertisement that caused the difficulty had absolutely, really no religious content on it at all. It was just an advert saying there was going to be a festival at the local theatre. Had they put some of Franklin Graham's previous comments on by way of attraction, or even his name, I wonder whether the judge would have made a similar ruling.
Well, this again, Joe, was something that was discussed extensively within the court case, and Franklin Graham's name was on those adverts. The event was officially titled the Lancashire Festival of Hope with Franklin Graham. So Franklin's name was on those adverts. And the reason why that judgment draws such attention to the fact that there was nothing religious on those messages is because one of the defences that Blackpool Council and Blackpool Transport made to try and justify what they'd been done was that they had a policy of not accepting religious advertisements on Blackpool Transport buses. And actually what transpired to be the case was that no such policy existed.